What's up, guys? You are on the air and off the books with Bethann and Samantha, and happy release weekday month.
I think this is coming out on the 15th.
Yeah.
So so for us, Some Shall Break releases today.
Yes.
Bow,
Bow, bow, bow. Some Shall Break, the sequel to None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney, is coming to your shelves.
Yes, and also to your library.
Yes.
Shameless plug. And you should pick it up ASAP because it's phenomenal. And that's what we're going to be reviewing today.
We were lucky enough to get an ARC, which is an advanced reader's copy from Ellie, and I read it, I think a couple months ago. I read it right away as soon as I got it.
Yeah, and then I got caught up in a lot of other reading that I have to do because I'm so slow, and then I just finished it last week.
Yes, and if you guys remember, you know that we loved None Shall Sleep.
Oh, it was so good.
And we loved Some Shall Break even more.
Yes.
It was amazing. Start to finish. There was no plateau. It was all...
It just jumped right in.
Straight up.
Yes.
Roller coaster.
Oh my gosh, and it's everything that I wanted. Like, I didn't know what I guess I didn't know what I wanted to happen, but I knew that, like, I needed to see Simon again. I knew that I needed to see Travis and, I want to say Bella. That's not right.
Nope. Emma.
Who's Bella?
What?
Travis and Emma, and then Kristen again. And, we did. Like,
yes.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. If you haven't read None Shall Sleep, this is going to be a very spoilery episode for you because because you cannot read Some Shall Break without None Shall Sleep.
Yes, and if you remember when we talked about None Shall Sleep, None Shall Sleep is about Emma Lewis. She survived being kidnapped by a serial killer, and then she ends up getting to work. They end up getting this program in the FBI, which is where they've got two teenagers, Emma and Travis, that are interviewing teenage psychopaths, serial killers, to figure them out and see if they can figure out their motives and why they do what they do.
And they chose her because she had escaped from Huxton, who had captured her. And so she's living with this trauma. Mm-hmm. And then Travis has his own backstory and trauma about his dad working in the FBI. And so they kind of...
Who was murdered by a serial killer that they are working with, Simon Gutmundsson.
Yes. And so you have to read all of that first to be able to get to Some Shall Break. So if you haven't read that, seriously pick it up. Like, it's really good.
Yes.
If you listened to us and read The Naturals and you really liked it... Mm-hmm. You are going to like this a lot more. This is technically YA fiction.
I loved this more than The Naturals, and I loved The Naturals.
I was about to say yes. I know. I hate saying that because I feel like I'm betraying, but this is so, so good.
It's also really cool because Ellie Marney, which is the author of None Shall Sleep, and Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the author of The Naturals, are doing a talk tonight. Which will be, you'll hear this afterwards, but
they are
maybe you guys
listened
in.
Yes, and it's going to be on YouTube.
Yes.
Maybe we can get a link for that.
Yeah, we can post it.
Yeah, we'll try our best to be able to add that in. I'm forgetful, so Samantha's probably going to be the one that remembers. But you should definitely watch that because it's two of our favorite authors.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Let
us on. Let us on.
Let us say hello.
Just we'll pop in, a little window at the bottom.
Just like, hey,
what are you guys doing
here? What's up, Jen? What's up, Ellie?
Jennifer Lynn Barnes is staring at us like who
oh,
are
God. You? Pull out the restraining order.
Fine.
It's fine.
But Some Shall Break, I'm going to read the synopsis just so you guys kind of know a little bit like what the book's about going into Some Shall Break from None Shall Sleep. So after harrowingly close contact with juvenile sociopath Simon Gutmundsson, junior FBI consultants Emma Lewis and Travis Bell went their separate ways. Emma rejected her Quantico offer, and Travis stayed to train within a new unit of the FBI Behavioral Analysis Division. But the unit's latest case is feeling eerily familiar, and Kristen Gutmanson, Simon Gutmanson's eccentric twin, reaches out to Travis to send a warning. Emma is in peril. When Travis and Kristen turn up evidence that points back to Daniel Huxton, the serial killer that Emma had escaped, things become more complicated. With the copycat on the loose, Emma returns to Quantico and is thrown back into her past traumas. Compelled to prevent more tragedy, even if it means putting herself in danger, Emma turns to Simon for help once again. But Simon is keeping secrets that could impact their entire investigation. Will the team be able to stop the Huxton copycat before time runs out for his next victims? Or will they not?
It is so good.
Dude, I'm really sad that I didn't I should have done a reread, because you probably remember a lot more of the details than I do.
So what's interesting is that you come into the book with Emma and her therapist.
Yes.
And you're starting to realize, because kind of at the end of None Shall Sleep, right? Yeah, None Shall Sleep. Sorry, these titles are very similar, and
They're
I get a little
twisters.
Yeah, I get a little mixed. When you come to the end of that, you don't really actually know if Emma completely refused the FBI.
Yeah.
And then when you come into this book, you're starting to realize that she has no, I'm moving on, I'm not going back, which is kind of sad because you thought her and Travis were a little item or whatever.
Yeah.
And it turns out that she is going back to Ohio State University.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to figure out her life. She's coping with her trauma. She's dealing with all these things, which makes me think, and I'm going to segue already, but which makes me think that this therapist is going to be super crucial in this next book. And I bet you that something's going to happen with this therapist that's going to...
That's what I thought the whole time that I was reading this book.
Because she comforts, or not, I keep wanting to call her Kristen. She comforts Emma, and she's Emma's go-to cord to ground her or whatever. And I think that what's going to happen is something is going to be because I think there's only going to be 3 books.
Yeah.
And I'm so ready for the 3rd book, but I know it's going to have to be so insane.
It's going to be
so many
crazy.
things are going to have to happen, and multiple people might die. And I'm so sad for that, because in this one, I for sure thought that Travis was dead.
I have a prediction for book 3. I think that Simon is gonna Simon's a psycho. He's a serial killer, okay?
Yes.
So he's the only kind of attachment he really has is oddly to Emma and his sister.
Yes.
So I think what's gonna happen in the 3rd book is it's gonna come down to either him and Kristen or him and Emma, and then the other person is just going to have to acknowledge, he's going to kill me. And then it's going to be this giant end scene of him, either killing Kristen or Emma. And
yeah. I for sure thought it would be a him take Kristen's life and then his life, because, the whole thing they can't be apart because they're, one soul or whatever, 2 sides of the same
And maybe
coin.
that'll be...
I don't know. Whatever it is, it's going to be great.
What?
But anyway, sorry, we're already segueing into book 3 because we're so excited.
Yes.
And I also need book 3 cover to be green, a pastel green.
Yes.
For sure, I'm getting posters to put on my wall of these. These covers are chef's kiss. So you get into Emma kind of trying to live a normal life again, and then you get glimpses of Travis talking to Kristen.
Yes.
And which is kind of odd because Kristen isn't back in her institution.
Right.
And Kristen is urging Travis to call Emma because you need to call her. She needs to know about this. And you're just oh no.
Here we go.
What's going to happen? And so that's when it gets crazy, is that Emma gets shipped back off because there's a copycat.
Yes.
For the Huxton murders.
Yes.
And so she gets thrown back into this world of the FBI, and she's angry because the previous book, None Shall Sleep, they essentially used Travis and Kristen, they said that it was like this program, but they lied and manipulated them so that they could go in and they could use her to get what they wanted so that they could bust this case open.
Right.
They didn't ask her permission on things. They didn't really, like, let her know a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
And so then she's very, like, apprehensive about it, and she's very angry at them.
Yes.
And so that translates over to all the FBI agents and then also Travis as well. So their relationship is very strange from the beginning.
Yeah.
And from there, they start to uncover the fact that this is really a copycat.
Mm-hmm.
And then the craziest part was the fact that tapes surfaced.
Yes.
These VHS tapes have surfaced of Huxton videoing himself. Now, this is like trigger warnings. And I believe, and Ellie does a great job too, because in the book there is like hotlines and different like things where she's like, if you're experiencing these things, please call somebody, which I appreciate because I feel like a lot of authors write a lot of crazy stuff and they don't give you enough warning or enough like help or resources and stuff like that. So props to Ellie. And so these tapes are circulating around that Emma didn't know anything about.
Right.
But
somehow Simon knew.
And that's what gutted me because he's literally videotaping himself abusing, use your imagination. I don't have to spell that out for you. Abusing these women, murdering them, abusing them. And there are tapes of Emma being abused by this man.
Yeah.
And of course, Simon has seen these.
Yeah.
Way before he's ever met Emma. And it changes the game for the books because that means that in None Shall Sleep, from the very beginning, when he saw Emma, he knew who she was. He'd seen her over and over again because I guess these tapes had been circulating in this like weird serial killer ring.
Dark web.
Yeah. Forever. And this killer has these tapes and that's how they find out that he knows about, like, dude, it is insanity. Like, and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
So disgusting. And I think the interesting thing about this book, too, is that, like, we don't actually know the killer at all.
Yeah.
We find him, but the twists are other things.
Yeah, he wasn't... I can't even remember who the killer was, but he wasn't anybody we knew in the book.
He wasn't, like, a crucial character or somebody who was
just
close
some
to
rando
them.
dude.
Right. And I think that was okay because of, like, the way that they actually found him.
Yes.
And the way that, like, Simon and Emma's relationship changed in this book.
Yeah.
Not that they had a relationship, but like
I don't know. I feel like it was some like weird attachment that they both had to each other.
Yes. And he explains that too. Like,
kind of like Stockholm
about,
syndrome, but kind of not.
Right. Like they're like a moth to a flame.
Yeah.
Like, and he explains it and they're like, you're like, I'm the like wolf and you're the lamb and like we are drawn to each other because like you've survived this and like now you're a part of what I am kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And like Simon, for being a crazy person, is so poetic.
He is. He's like, he's the swoon of the book, which
crazy.
Is so sad.
It is. And like, and they're talking about in this book too about how like they should know that like the killers nowadays aren't like this stereotypical weird looking person. Like they're just everyday like handsome men walking. Yeah. Like if you
because they can get away with it.
Exactly. Like if all these other people have taught anybody anything, it's like the guy you least expect or whatever. Yeah. And so Simon is so like suave and like I think at one point Emma looks at Travis. She's like. It's so weird that they're so normal, and you would never guess that Simon at the time was a murderer. And Travis was like, I doubt that because he's so odd.
Yeah,
like he's such an enlightened person. And Kristen is creepier and creepier the more that you get to know her.
I don't know. She just.
Well, and, you thought that she was a good person.
Yeah. Which I don't know if she's, like, not a good person still. I think that she's just so attached to her brother in, like, the weirdest of ways.
But that's what doesn't make sense to me.
Like, they definitely have, like, some odd romantic, like, I don't know.
Dude, I don't know either.
Like, I can't decide if Simon's got some, like, weird romantic feelings for Emma, or if it's for his sister, or if he's just, like, my sister is everything to me type of thing.
Well, see, and that's what I'm wondering is that because it's revealed in there that Simon's first victim was Kristen's, like, suitor or, like, somebody who wanted to date her.
Yes.
And he got extremely jealous and he didn't like him.
Yeah.
So he, like...
murdered him, disemboweled him.
Yeah, disemboweled him and, like, used his guts to, like, paint this crazy picture and...
Yeah.
You know, Simon stuff.
Just the things that artists do.
Right, and then all Kristen can say is, yeah, I was pretty tore up about that. And I'm like, bruh.
I think, like, Kristen is, like, the better half of Simon, but, like, she's, like, a sociopath in her own way.
Yeah.
And not in, like, a murderous way, I guess.
Well, see, and that's what's so crazy is that she knows the mind of a killer because, like, she shares Simon's mind, but she doesn't like the bloodshed of it.
Yes.
But she accepts it in him.
She's like, it's fine. It's just who he is.
It's like, it's nothing he can do about it. It's just how he is. And, like, okay, huge spoiler. We already spoiled a lot, but if you really want to pick this up by now, you really don't need to listen to the rest of this. Like, you need to read that first and then listen. But Simon escapes for Kristen's help.
Yeah. Freaking knew it. I freaking knew it.
I did it because I thought what was going to happen is she was going to undo this knife and she was just going to be like, I'm ready to die with you. Like, we have to die together.
Oh,
like,
no.
we have to go through this together.
I knew as soon as she went in there, I'm like, she's going to break him out. He's gone.
Really?
Goodbye. Yep.
There's no, I didn't, but he is so effective in the way that he kills people and so, like, unnaturally. And, like, the whole, like...
You know who I think about, like, who I picture Simon as when I think of Simon?
Who?
Remember the guy, the Vecna from Stranger Things?
Oh, I haven't seen that last season yet.
Okay. That's who I picture as Simon.
Okay,
You'll just have to look at a picture of him.
Okay.
He's 100% Simon. Like, okay, if you're gonna, like, make a movie out of this or a show or whatever...
Which you should.
I think his name is Jamie Campbell Bower. He's your dude.
That's the guy. But I think my favorite part of this whole book was the way that Kristen was talking with Simon about how he was a god of, like, death, essentially.
Yeah.
And how she was part of his light.
Yeah.
And how there's, like, sun and moon and there's, like, night and day and, like, how they aren't without each other and how she can't bear to live life alone.
Mm-hmm.
And how, like, this is the only way because she can't bear to be by herself without him.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that and the point where he uses her as a hostage, it makes me wonder if the game, because maybe he was bored with murdering people, and the fact that she stabbed him was all a game in the very, very beginning.
Yeah.
Because she makes a comment about how we did this dance before. Like, I just have to go along with what Simon says and do this.
Yeah.
Like, and so it makes me wonder if he wanted to be caught so that he could wreak havoc in other ways.
Yeah.
And then break out to say that he could do it.
Right.
Because Kristen is so sketchy. Like, it makes her sound like she did the right things, but at the same time, she sounds like she loves Simon and she's okay with what he does. And, like, if you're okay with who he is and you love him as him, then why would you turn him in? If you accept that and you've lived with that forever, because she knew about all of that stuff when he was killing and murdering people.
Yeah, I think there's got to be, like, some crazy twist that's going to be in the third book.
Has to be.
I feel like, okay, what if, like, Kristen and Simon, like, this whole time were working together, or like, what if?
Oh no!
What if this whole time Kristen is the one?
Murderer?
Yeah, that, like, disemboweled her boyfriend.
Oh, what if he murders them and she paints the pictures?
Yeah.
Because she loves, like, all the landscapes. Yeah. And she loves, like, so they're like a murdering duo.
Oh my gosh.
What? Oh my goodness. And that is it. Oh. And they've been living with this killer Emma's been sleeping next to a killer.
Yeah.
Because Kristen doesn't like the murder part, she said.
Yeah.
In there. Oh, bro. Ellie!
Please tell us. We will literally keep it a secret.
Send us what you have. I need to read it.
We will literally not tell a soul.
Top off of this. Okay, you guys have to read these books. I promise. Like, they are fantastic.
I think my favorite scene in the whole book was the ending scene because it was very much just
Oh my gosh.
utter like chaos. Like,
chaos is the word for it.
The end of like.
Well, when one thing happened, another thing ran up on somebody, and then another thing fell from the ceiling, and then another thing swooped in.
And I just picture Simon just like in the shadows, and all you see is like half of his face.
And he's
like,
smiling like the Joker back there with blood on his face. Yeah.
And he's just watching Emma, like, you know.
And he's giggling about the whole thing, like, now you're one of me.
But I think no matter what, he was going to save Emma. Because he doesn't want her to die.
No, he doesn't. But it's so weird because he's so sick because he doesn't want her to die, and he does have this weird affection for her. But at the same time, he's not above stringing her along and, like, having his way, like, with this weird psychological abuse that he does. Because he was, like, dangling her like a meat stick in front of a dog with that guy. Like,
but I don't think he was going to let him kill her.
Oh, no. I don't think he was going to ever let him touch her.
Now, Travis, on the other hand, he didn't care about Travis. He's probably jealous.
Oh, yeah, because of this, like, because he probably, I think in Simon's mind, he probably thinks that Travis doesn't have any kind of, like, connection with Emma the way that Simon has it. Yeah. Exactly.
Dude, we just cracked the case.
We did. 100%. And I'm pretty sure that Kristen is 1,000% jealous of it.
Yeah.
That she's not letting on. There's got to be something here. That she's just like, you are taking her over me, or like, you wouldn't let me have anyone, so you can't have anyone. Like,
I'm gonna be like screaming reading
the
this
betrayal. Third book. Oh, it's gonna be so freaking good.
I gotta read it all in one go around.
And it's so sad because like we got the arc, it's just released, so you haven't even read it yet. Okay.
I know.
And the fact that we have to wait.
We probably have to wait like a year.
I know. So sad.
Okay, listen, Ellie, if you're listening to this. We might even send this to you, okay? Because if you're listening to this and once you get done with your third book, you know, take your time, but not too long. You can just send us.
Oh my gosh, I would pass out.
A link. You don't even have to send us an arc. You can just send us a link to like your first copy. We will
sob over it.
Read it. We will sob.
We will plaster it all over for people to come pick up when it releases.
Yes.
Like, oh, dude.
It's gonna be crazy, and I want to be like so like I think I'm gonna be on like such a book hangover, like after I finish.
Because then, and also my thing is if this is the end, then you can't like there's like I can't go back to them. Like
I know
I can reread it and it's gonna be fantastic, and I probably will, at some point because like as I have gotten older. Like, I don't just buy, like, I don't keep things that aren't, like, important on my bookshelf. Like, I have a lot of books, don't get me wrong. But, like, it has to be, like, okay, if I've read this, generally I'm willing to give it away if it hasn't, like, impacted me at all.
Yeah.
And I am, even though I've read the arc of this, I'm buying 1,000% this book. Like, going to the store, picking it up, and I have it in hardback. And if you know me, I don't like hardback. So, like, this is, like, staying permanently on my shelf. Like, this is that kind of book. And don't be deterred that it's YA fiction because it doesn't read like that.
Yeah.
It is so, like...
It definitely does not
creepy.
give, like, YA vibes at all.
It's, like, creep up your spine, like...
I think it's more intense and scarier than some of, like, the actual adult, like, mystery books we've read. Like,
1,000%.
Even Josie
Oh, the Josie Quinn. Yeah, it's right along those lines and more than that, I would say.
Yeah. So
good, guys. You've got to pick it up. You've got to read it.
We have a we're obviously going to be getting a copy here at the library. So yes,
and it's probably going to be on Libby as well. If there's an audiobook coming out, we'll have that.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the ebook as well, so that you can check it out on your Kindle. Rent the copy from here, buy the copy, support your author.
Yes. And then also join us next week. Episode 109, we are going to be talking about the Luminaries. Yes. And that is going to be exciting. And then the next week after that, we have Anne Freystadt's interview, which is the author of What We Harvest.
which was also a phenomenal book.
Yes. So, two actually similar books back to back. So yes, you guys need to listen into those and check out Some Shall Break. We should be getting it, I imagine, soon. So
Yes, very soon.
Yes.
It's all requested and everything like that. So
yep, and we will see you guys. Well, we will talk with you guys on the next episode.
yes,
Bye.